one. Hey, hey,
Hey, hey, people, Gamer Dan's in the house. What's going
how's
on?
things?
It's not me. Oh my gosh, what can I say? Moving people and it takes a toll on your sleep, well, at least for me and my schedule. So I shouldn't nod off. It just took me a painkiller, but yeah, I'm too excited. In between. What do you think, Gamer Dan?
Fun fact, most of the painkillers here in Japan, very drowsy. Drowsy brands, or at least
Oh
drowsy
dear.
painkillers, which is crazy because, you just want to dull the pain. You don't want to go to bed.
Yeah. Well, now you told me, oh my gosh. Oh, I mean, hopefully perk up at some point. And this exciting topic should do the trick actually go.
Yes, it's an interesting time, isn't it? It's a really interesting time where the Switch 2 has dropped. We've seen unboxing videos, we've seen speculation videos, we've seen like early information videos, and people are already starting to find shortcuts on Mario World, Super Mario Kart World. Oh, it's just Mario Kart World, not Super. I gotta say, I have to get over the loss. I
My
just the
God.
Super Switch. It was right there, low hanging fruit, and instead we got the
Oh,
Switch 2. I know it's. mm, I'll get over it one day, but yes, it's quite exciting. I think early speculation on the Switch 2 was that it was going to be comparable to PlayStation 4 Pro. So people are like, yeah. PS5 is out, but this thing is going to be in your hand. It's going to be, oh, a contender. It's going to be in the fight. But well, we needed to get it. We needed to see it before
yeah.
we could tell. And from what I've seen, I haven't got one. Touch wood, we'll have one soon. But um, it's kind of impressive, to be honest. I'm really genuinely impressed. This is coming from a dude who's currently working his way through the Steam Next Fest demos. I've got like 8 of them done. I've got as many as I can before the end of the weekend, before Next Fest ends. I've got like 70 things on my Steam. So every so often, I fill my Steam deck. And I'm like, oh, just playing. Admittedly, a couple of duds. I'm trying. Last time, a couple of the videos are quite short because I start the game and then it's like, oh, the game doesn't work. All right, see you next time. But this time I'm trying to play the game to see if the demo functions. And if it does, then I'll do a video on it. But
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh dear.
yeah, I think the Steam Deck is a portable gaming PC, and it's high end. It's very, very powerful. But looking at what the Switch 2 can do, it's not comparable, but it's close. It's very impressive. And to that effect, we're going to look at a few videos talking about the what the Switch 2 has been doing, and more than that, the selling out. One of the fastest selling consoles. Full stop. Hard stop. That's a hell of a statement.
Oh my
We've got. I'm going to quickly share a familiar face, Jacob Weeb. We've showed his videos before, but
God. You've got the J Potter, so
yeah, he makes me laugh. I do enjoy his stuff. Just watch. Credit where credit's due. Jacob Weeb, check it out. Does great
yeah.
videos. Mm.
5 million units in its first.
Well,
We at Nintendo are happy to announce that the Switch 2 is the fastest selling console of all time, selling a whopping 3.5 million units.
3.5
Yeah.
million. And that's at their current price. And you're like, ooh, that is a nice chunk of
That is
change.
beautiful. To be honest,
Uh,
I'm. You know, one thing about us is that nice chunk of
yeah,
changes.
there's a joke about gamer boycotts in there, but damned if I ain't touching it.
In its first 4 days. That is
Oh my God.
insane! For
Yeah, four
comparison, it
days,
took the
man.
PS5 4 weeks to
Focus on.
sell 3.5 million units. This whole release has been a huge learning experience for me. What do you mean? Well, I assumed that gamers would look at performance and hardware when deciding to buy the Switch 2, but that wasn't the case at all.
Amazing.
I realize now that Nintendo doesn't sell consoles or games. They sell nostalgia. And you guys convinced gamers that the only way to experience that nostalgia is through a Switch 2.
Well, that is why we did the commercial with Paul Rudd. We wanted to attract the adult who played with the Super Nintendo Entertainment System in the 90s.
And it worked. It's a masterclass in brand marketing. When you have the power to sell 3.5 million consoles in 4 days with only Mario Kart World, that is a crazy flex.
Be it Nintendo.
Yep, that is true.
It's a bit of pill at the end. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Games are what sell a console. It's no point in having a beautiful, it's no point in having a big, beautiful console if you've got nothing to play on it. But well done. Switch 2 selling out so fast is just impressive. But this channel, for a while now, has used the analogy of Nintendo is becoming a Disney. They are making amazing IPs, they're making great products, but they are jealously guarding it. They are very, very lawyer friendly, litigious, and they are difficult. They're prickly, like Disney can be. Also, they're now in the theme park game. But Nintendo weaponizing the nostalgia feels very in keeping with Disney's playbook. Like, hey, we own the films and the games you played as kids. Now they are selling that nostalgia. But it rubs against my own sensibilities. Like, I want to be excited for the upcoming games. Give me the new hotness, not just the old fashioned. But last week I was drooling, salivating even, over the idea of a little gaming handheld by MatMadik, which is dropped. It's almost here, and I'm holding myself back. But there's very little new games I'm going to play on it. It is entirely a retro device. But I'm going to use it to play old games. So maybe that's just an inevitability of time. I don't have the time to play the bigger new games because I'm getting older. I'm part of the generation that grew up with games, and tapping into that market sells. It's working on me. It worked on the Switch too.
But this is amazing, bro. I mean, thank you so much for sharing this with us. And let me see if I can give my 2 cents. And by the way, people, sorry for my technical difficulties. Did I jump in and out? Give it down on your end.
A little bit.
Yeah, scribbles. All right, well, in that case, all right, let me just give my 2 cents. It's very interesting, isn't it? What the guy said that Nintendo's selling nostalgia. You see, everyone's got something to say once the results are in. If it failed, then they'll say why it failed. If it succeeded, say why it succeeded. But in the meantime, we speculate, right? And yes, Nintendo sells nostalgia. Before we go into this video, when looking at this dude's short, I was thinking Nintendo. It looks like they finally said to themselves, we want to set ourselves apart by being the guys who aren't too concerned with having the latest, greatest bit of technology. And sometimes it's a wise move because this is what I love about Nintendo is that technology is always outdoing itself. Next thing you know, it's like when the iPods are coming out, the mini iPod, the mini iPod, the mini, and next thing you know, everything you've got is obsolete before you just spend money on it. But Nintendo said to themselves, we're gonna set ourselves apart and make a console that I don't care what new something comes out, what you've got there has value that goes beyond just being the latest, greatest bit of technology. That is only valued by being better than what just came before it, which could be again made obsolete before you know it. Now, Nintendo said to themselves, let's just dive right into the field of what we've been avoiding, which is being seen as the company that's not got technology that's so hot as the other people, and actually try and do the whole sequelization thing and actually have something that can hold a candle next to the other guys. To an extent, of course, by the time the PS handheld comes along, it's going to outdo the PS5, let alone the Switch 2. Of course, Microsoft's trying to be the next Netflix. I mean, graphically, it's probably poised to be at least, but the Nintendo saying, I mean, they actually want to throw the hat in the ring and let's see if we can stretch the Switch thing the Switch console under the guise of um not under the guise of stretch the lifespan of the Switch by calling the Switch 2, effectively making the Switch last longer, and not only that, using older games to try and sell it while they're testing the waters. It's a gamble because it is about tasting people's mouths. You know, people expect innovation, but it's kind of smart in that.
Oh no, I
I mean,
agree with you
I
there.
know everyone's crazy about. I mean, you got Mario Kart World, you got again Hogwarts Legacy. I know you know crazy about that, but at the same time, you got and let me see what else you got. And oh my gosh, that's the only game that I've seen on the shelves. Oh, Kirby, I'm about the Kirby game. You've got a few new titles out there, but Nintendo they're being strategic and thinking to themselves, let let the fans who want this company to succeed support us. And they've come up and they've got the record-breaking sales at the moment in 4 days. And by the time the dust settles, we're going to see what the people really want. You're going to see the fans support it. I mean, like me, I love Nintendo. I just love the idea of a big tree, still bringing forth fruit in the midst of all these new trees that have been planted, and or at least competing trees, if you will. And I want it to keep growing and growing. What's it going to take for Nintendo to stick around? The Mario Kart World, the Mario World movie's coming next year. There's got to be another Mario game, or if not another Mario game, then I don't know, Pokemon game. Or I mean, what do you think if they'll do some sort of a Smash Ultimate Deluxe or something like that? You know, or something, but something in the realm of half a sequel of what's already there, and half a new something, or to bring in something completely new. I think they're going to try and milk this thing of what it's worth, and just to keep money pouring in, and of course funding the other portfolio projects, the theme park, the museum, the movies, and what have you. So what do you think, Yamadan?
I think you touched on a really interesting point there. Nintendo has long been a company that's led by the old guard.
Mm.
I use that, it's referred to like Shigeru Miyamoto, the older guys. And looking at their
Um,
consoles, here we are. Ba-ba-ba-bum. You can
Beautiful
see this is
infographic.
the lifespan of Nintendo essentially. This is they
Wow.
started as a gaming games company with making cards and toys, color TV units,
Mm,
Game and Watch, then the Famicom, the NES, and slowly but surely we've watched them go from strength to strength. So you've got your the Famicom, the Super
mm,
Famicom, then N64, the GameCube, the Wii U, and the Switch. And most of these consoles were this this generation right at the bottom here. All of these were being led by the design notion of interesting ways to play. That's what Nintendo's brand was. It was family friendly fun and ways to play because they wanted to come at it
mm,
each way. The controllers were all radically different, but very, very ergonomic, very, very in keeping. And then like they piloted motion controls, touch screens, all of these ways of doing it
right.
because they were trying to do things that way to play. The last time we actually had, them slow down
Mm,
and let a design cook, just build upon it. We had the NES, yes, NES, the Nintendo Entertainment System, which was an evolution of the Famicom, which eventually became the Super Famicom. And it was the only time in their generation where they really kind of let it cook. They're like, hey, we've got a thing that works. Let's just make a better version of that and see how far we can push it. But due to the just overwhelming success of the Switch, which was not entirely Nintendo's, uh, it's not all the basis of Nintendo's work. It was pandemic and great lineup, and there was a whole bunch of different events that coalesced and really pushed the Switch into the stratosphere. It was almost best-selling console, came close to the best-selling console of all time. And when you have a winner, it doesn't make good business
Yeah.
sense to throw out the baby with the bathwater. It doesn't make sense to break it and and try again. So I can understand that why Nintendo kept the Switch going, and they went on to it and even named it the Switch 2. It's a continuation of the Switch. They are just further developing it out. It makes sense. But it does feel a little bit hollow now because we're at a point technologically, as you say, that we can do amazing things, but are they using the Switch to fund other projects? Are they funneling the money from the Switch into other things? Are they not taking the time and the energy to really make the Switch a success? I think that remains to be seen. The Switch itself, technologically, is really, really impressive. I mentioned it at the beginning, showing this quick screen.
Yeah, please.
Here we are. This is just a quick digital comparison. We've got this is Street Fighter 6 on the PS4, and just looking at it, you can see the pixel lines, you can see the edges, it's quite sharp. It looks great. I mean, the model is fantastic. The design model looks great, but you can see the cracks.
Yes.
Then PS5, it's buttery smooth. It is a single continuous line. It is smooth as silk.
I probably can't maybe.
Finally done right. First lady of fighting games.
Yep.
Show some respect.
Yeah, I'm saying.
Switch 2, that looks pretty damn good. Looking at them, it's almost a before and after and a during. It feels like the claim that the Switch was going to be PS4 Pro comparison might be correct. Looking at some of these videos, let's get a clip of them.
So Street Fighter 6 is available on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5, and it is going to be coming to the Nintendo Switch 2 as
well. That looks good. Like, it almost looks better below.
Look at that.
Look at her hair, the little
bits. If you notice.
Yeah, it's just
really strange.
It's so seamless.
Strange how good it is.
Yeah, like I say, I am excited to buy it, but it does feel like Nintendo used to innovate for gameplay's purposes. They wanted to explore what could be done, and other consoles just push the technology harder and further, just make it bigger, make it stronger, make it more powerful. And now they are doing the same thing. Now, I know letting the Switch 2 develop, they got a winner, and they married their portable gaming market with their home console market and created a thing that's both and makes everyone happy. And it proved that portability is a big seller of devices. People like being able to take their games with them. It's one of the reasons why mobile gaming, mobile phone gaming, is still so prevalent. I can't stand that. Trying to find a decent game on a mobile is, you're panning for gold. It's just you have to go through a whole mess of garbage. But
prospectors.
Yeah, you got prospect for that thing. But being able to play at any point, just pull it out and play it is such a seller. It's just such a positive. It's the reason why I'm so excited about these. This new Ambernic slide is it's capable of pulling off PlayStation 2 in a size and form factor that I can just take with me. I can play PS2 on the go. Are you? Of course. Show them take my money. Yeah. So it is incredible to think that what they can do. I'm just worried that the initial launch is going to give a bad taste in people's mouths, and there are no games for it. They sold this damn thing on the back of Mario Kart World, and we can play all the games up-res if you pay a little extra. Wink, wink. Great. Oh, and if you're also paying for the online service, we will give you some old classic games, selling the nostalgia. It's true, but I'm worried about the upcoming, because there's nothing really coming down the pipeline nothing's for Christmas, around Christmas. that's going to be
Yeah.
a system seller? Like, what are we looking forward to between now and Christmas? We're getting Donkey Kong Bonanza. Well, that looks good. Very excited.
Mm.
Fully destructible environment. That's a great, that's a great game engine if you can make it work.
Yeah.
If it can
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
anywhere and break anything, that's a good idea if it works.
Yeah.
But I just there's nothing coming up this year. There's a lot of great games coming out next year or to be announced, but
Mm.
there's nothing like in front of us going, "Hey, Christmas time, this is what you want." Because I reckon price will come down, and they need just a price drop for Christmas and a big system seller to push those Switch 2 sales. And once the numbers start going better and better and better, we will have, games will come, but we need to get them out the gate first. You need a
Yeah.
boost launch.
Yeah. Dude, this is definitely. I mean, your analysis of breakdown is just in my opinion. You really break down very clearly for what's going on for the audience who are lay people, I suppose. But this is it. I mean, the system sellers. I think Nintendo being tight-lipped. They're being a bit opaque about a lot of things. They're not letting us know why they're doing what they're doing, but they're hoping that it'll pay off. So here we are, and we've got. I'm convinced that a lot of this money grabbing, this nickel and diming, is to fund their other projects. Like the dude said, Nintendo studying nostalgia. It makes perfect sense when it comes to the theme parks. If they can sell nostalgia through the theme parks and the movies, they win in that regard. One thing I love about the marketplace is when you need to have different companies. I don't want a monolith around here. Nintendo does something for the gaming audience that the other companies, as much as they are pushing keeping games interest alive through being on the cutting edge or the kind of state of the art, there's nothing like the IP Nintendo has. So Nintendo, they know that this IP that they have is gold, and if they just blurt it out straight away and let people poo-poo it, before it's had a chance to gain traction, they'll just shot themselves in the foot. So they want to squeeze the money out of the people and say, "Hey, listen, man, high res. Do you understand me? High res, pay up." And people say, "All right, here you go, here's my money." And then they say, "Okay, let's put this in the theme park right now."
Mm.
And next thing you know, you'll hear about some Donkey Kong Land coming to a town near you, in the Universal Studios of country of choice. Yeah, and next thing you know, Nintendo's got more money. And as far as the game's coming, I'm convinced there's gonna be a Mario surprise announcement. I mean, when's the next Direct Game? And then I should ask you that quickly.
I'm not sure. There was some rumor going around that there was going to be a June direct, but
Ah,
we've also had a few gaming trailer announcements. And usually Nintendo doesn't do a direct, doesn't release game trailers
hmm,
if they're doing a direct. They save it for the direct. So
right.
often when people have said, "Oh, that we suspect there's going to be a direct," and then they bring out a bunch of trailers. You're like, "Oh yeah, no."
Right.
They're throwing you the crumbs off the table while they're cooking. They've got
I'm thinking about
something they're working on, and they're like, "Oh yeah, just have this, just snack on this while I'm finished the meal." So
something that's
I
important.
did
I mean,
think, I was quite excited. I thought, oh, there's going to be a direct this month, and then maybe a direct in August or September, leading into Christmas, around the time of Donkey Kong Bonanza, because they'll do a direct. They'd also do a showcase of Donkey Kong directly before it to get
mm,
people excited. It's the same thing they did with the Switch 2, release. They did the direct. Oh, people got excited. More directs talking about the games. Oh, and then 1 month you got direct more information. The next month, bam, the thing drops. So to keep the momentum going, and that's companies have almost got this down to a science. Like how long can you wait? How fast do you do it? Apple was actually one of the first companies that did this, not the shadow drop, where they're like, "Hey, we're announcing a bunch of games," and then boom, it's today. No, no, no. The Apple would do release trailers. They would announce technologies, they would announce products, and then they would be like a month or a month and a half, 2 months after the initial launch. So quite fast. It wasn't like they announced it and then next year.
mm,
It's like boom, no, this thing is going to be in your hands in a short period. And I'm excited about this, and it's coming soon. Oh yes, yes, we like that, and if that's what they did with the Switch. I think that it was so successful as a marketing strategy that it's going to be prevalent. We're going to get shorter announcement times, but that does mean that we're not going to know about a lot of bigger things until closer to the date. I'm worried about what they're going to release, but it might just be because they're behind the scenes cooking. They've got a whole bunch of big things, and they're going to like, hey, you're excited for something? Here's the thing. Oh, I like that. And then next one, boo, you excited for this? Yeah, I'm excited for that. And then they're not giving me a big lead up. There's a few tantalizing things down the pipes, but those aren't coming soon. The stuff that's around the corner, maybe they're being coy about it. But again, it's leaving it's leaving a bitter taste in my mouth. It's people have talked about it. Top Arlo, who and a few other Nintendo-centered game critics and game just I'm not going to say influencers, but guys who talk about these things online. They've been and erring because they brought out this new console with one new IP, so one new big game. A lot of older games on this new game card code thing. That's very frustrating. It used to be you bought a physical game cartridge and then you could hand it over to your buddy. Now the physical thing is just a key. It's just like, oh, this key unlocks the game, and if I gave it to my buddy, would it work? If I gave him the physical key, I went, hey, here's the thing, would it go, nope, this key is locked to this console, even this profile on the same console. If someone else in my household is using my Switch 2, could they use the games on the device? I haven't checked to see those answers. I think they're probably out there. We probably could find it. But it's scary. I just don't want to deal with that until I've got it. Until I've got the console in my hand. There's a lot of the specifics that I'm like, I won't. I'll cross that bridge when I get there. But honestly,
when Gamer Dan gets to people, we got to hear his take when he feels it. Because right now, we can only go on secondhand at the moment. We won't buy a secondhand Switch necessarily, but Nintendo, if they want to sell on Christmas, like you said, they've got to do a price drop. If they bring out something suddenly and say, by the way, it cost them $1 billion to fill in shabby yen, then you're like, oh man, you know what? I think I've had enough of your silliness. So I mean, for part two, I was going to expand on something about Japan's technology. I'll save it for part two. I can't get into it now, but I don't know. Do we have much time? Do we have to do the part two switch?
A little bit of time left.
All right. In that case, we could just say, let me ask you, Gamer Dan. My gosh. Okay. So we've been saying they need a system seller. What do you think that game will be? Do you think they got a Pokemon game in the works? Or
it's interesting you bring it up because it has to be a first party. It's got to be a first-party title. It's got to be something that Nintendo's cooking in-house.
Yes.
If it was a third party, that they would have their own announcements for it. So I reckon it's going to be one of the big tentpole titles. It has to be. And what could it be? Well, it's not Metroid because we've already got Metroid Prime 4 been announced. It's coming out soon, but not. Is it going to be the system seller? No. People have been waiting for this long enough. Donkey Kong can't be that. It's been a long time since we had a straight Mario, a solid, honest to goodness, mainline Mario game. At the beginning of the Switch, we had Mario Odyssey, and we didn't have any other any other Mario games. I mean, we had, Bowser's Fury, but that was essentially a port of a Wii U game with a mini game tagged on. Now, Bowser's Fury was fantastic. I really enjoyed that, even more so than the main game. But it did feel more like a proving ground, like a test bed, game tech for, Mario open world. The idea that, playing Mario Odyssey, but instead of moving from location to location, you just kind of jump off the edge and then you're there. But even Pokemon Legends was like a proving ground, a way of testing out whether they could do open world with Pokemon. Body, but a great start. And then the next Legends is polishing it, is getting more detailed. We've got a city. The entire location is a city, but that means that they can get deep into the specifics and testing out how this new gameplay mechanics work, these new battle mechanics work in a contained environment rather than in a larger environment. I'm excited to see what's coming because if you look at the way that they pitch these things, it could be quite good. But I think the safe bet is probably either a Mario or a Pokemon game. We've already got Legends ZA announced, but a solid, honest to goodness Pokemon game would go down well. Wasn't too long ago that we had Scarlet and Violet. And that's also been bumped up with the Switch 2 kind of improvements. So people are playing the Switch 2 version say, oh, it plays great now. But that just feels like Cyberpunk 2077. You know, the initial day one launch was awful, it was garbage, big glitchy to hell. But now it's great. It's a great game, but I don't want to play it. You know, I remember the first day, the day ones. Oof, just put me off. I'd love. This is a real out there. This is like, ooh, this is not even a prediction. This is a wish. I would love a game that came from the catalog, a game that came out the safe. You know, they went deep into the vault and they pulled out an old character like a Pit, like a Kid Icarus, or oh, what was some of the classic ones like Excite Bike? You know, the games that have references in other titles. You know, those kind of classic old NES or SNES games that were popular on the platform, but never really got more. Like, yo, give me one of those. And if you bring me like a high definition, polished up version of that, ooh, yes, please. And again, it leans heavily into that idea of nostalgia. It's like, yo, you remember this? He, she, they were back. Yeah. Oh, yes. But again, that's pie-eye dreaming. That's like, I don't even know what game they could do. But yeah, I would absolutely. I would go hog wild on something like that. I would absolutely sell the device. I would run out and get one. I might even, you know, I find the money, you know.
Yes.
Get one.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Nostalgia. Yeah, as you brought it back to, is the key. And which gets me to thinking. I remember you saying before this, the Smash that Ultimate. It seems to be the last one, and the dude who made it, of course, whose name I never pronounced correctly. Please say his name again. My apologies, everybody. The dude who made Smash Brothers, who made Kirby. Please, I always say it wrong.
It's Sakurai.
Hideo.
No. Smash.
Oh no! I'm sorry. I think I've got retardation in my mind.
Sakurai. Masahiro Sakurai.
So I'm thinking. I know this is, you know, he killed himself over that last one, but do you think there'll be some sort of a deluxe or some sort of a some sort of
that's an entirely different conversation. I mean, how do you continue Smash when we had the end? I think Nintendo could keep the torch alive and take it out of Sakurai's hands. Like, let someone else take a crack at it. Now, we know that he did it, and he did it right. He put the effort in, he got the collaborations, and the refinement and polish to the game is, ooh, chef's kiss.
Yes.
You know, Smash is a game with love. You know, the creators who made it loved it. The gamers who played it love it. It's still played vehemently and frequently today. Even the older titles are still in rotation. You know, people have been keeping those things alive for decades.
Yes.
But maybe don't put down your pitchforks, put down the torches. Maybe we give someone else a crack at it. Maybe we don't call it Smash. We call it something totally different.
Crash.
We let someone else take a crack at it, you know, inject a little bit of variety into it, because Smash was, and always shall be a party game. At heart, it's supposed to be a party game, and people treat it like a fighting game. Well, maybe we give it to more of a fighting game pedigree guy, someone who's got experience and practice in making more traditional fighting games, and we take that kind of we lean it away from the party and we put it into the fighting genre and give you know, we start off small. We just have a splash of just pure Nintendo characters, and then we see if the game works. And if it does, we begin to expand the roster. We already know that Smash only went from strength to strength. We got old characters, other companies' characters. We got fighting game characters. We got Bayonetta, for God's sake, and you know, Steve from Minecraft. So you know, if the game mechanics, if the core gameplay loop is good and people like it, you know, we can expand. We can add more. But just let's try something new, see what works, and maybe we could have, you know, a rival, an ally, a cousin of Smash who's a little bit more, you know, in the weeds, footsie zoning, a little bit more fighting than party.
I think you're right.
Just say, it's just, I would like that. I think Sakurai, God bless him, he's good. You know, in the gaming, in the US of United States of gaming, dude's face is on the $5 bill. You know, now he's one of the guys. He made Kirby. He made Smash out of out of bubblegum and blue tag. The dude used like pipe cleaners to come up with ideas. He was doing this on his own time. The first Smash, he was literally doing it after work. We salute you, sir. Your sacrifice was not in vain. But I don't want to put it only on him. He's not the only guy who could make a game, you know?
I think fairly. I mean, I think what you said is a great idea, is that if it had a successor, it shouldn't necessarily be Smash per se.
Yeah.
If you do that, then I think people respect it a lot more. It's a bit like the Uncanny Valley thing. When you admit to people, yes, I know this is not, it's a bit like a wink at the audience at least. Yeah, I know it's not Smash, but this is at least a tribute to Smash. So I think, which is what Dragon Ball should have done a bit more. With when they came out with GT, of course, it's a lot of rehashing of old storylines. They go to this place and they meet this. Oh, it's the same story from Dragon Ball. It's like, all right, but what's his name? Toriyama. He oversaw it, but he's like, man, I'm a bit exhausted. Good luck. So you have to let people know that this is. If you let people know this is hey, you can even call it the first fan project that Nintendo doesn't try and stomp out. And next thing you know, it will have a respectable following that people say, hey, I know you're trying it, so kudos. I think that could work. Yeah, and
maybe. I mean, they're all kind of fan-made devices. There's a game called Mugen, which is Japanese for infinity.
Oh yeah, my gosh!
It's just like they just slap together characters from a bunch of different games and then put them in this and it's the code is awful. It's just the game barely functions. But the idea of having so many characters from so many different games is quite just like appealing. Yeah. It's an interesting thought. Tell you what, put your thoughts down in the comments. Let us know. Should Sakurai take up the reins? It could nobody but him make the next Smash game, or maybe you want to see a different type of Smash game. Maybe tell us what genre the next Smash in quotation marks game should be. You know, I won't accept shooter. I don't want to say Kirby gunning down zombies. That's not on the cards. But you know. What game should it be like? What game should we be emulating when we design the new Smash-esque game? Thoughts below. Right, we're going to put an end to it now.
Shall I? Yeah, do a. I'll send
I'll do a link. Right, with everyone. We'll talk soon.
Yeah.
Peace.